Hello and welcome to the Thresher Football Show. I'm Dan Page alongside interim head coach at Bethel College, Dalen Markham. Bethel College now to 4-3 on the season after falling on the road at McPherson on their homecoming. 35-10 ended up being the final score, and a lot of people agree it was a lot closer game than the scoreboard indicated, and a lot of things that don't usually happened, and it was so unique, and it was just really bizarre circumstances at times. But the Threshers, it was an unfortunate result and have to proceed and move on forward, and just, that's the only thing you can do. It's kind of like what, you ever seen this show Ted Lasso?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mind of a goldfish, memory of a goldfish.
Oh, yeah.
10-second memory,
Yeah.
Exactly. Forget about those things and move on to the next thing. So 35-10, it was definitely a really just kind of, the first half was a lot different than the second half, so it felt.
Yeah.
But you finally, capped a drive with a touchdown in the second half. But overall, I know it's disappointing for you, but, what are some of the things that stuck out to you, good and bad?
The good, we put a couple of drives together. We got stopped in the goal line. We were like on the 2-yard line a couple of times. So we were putting drives together in the first half, and then you just got to be able to punch and get a score, like punch it in. We set up for a field goal in the first quarter or second quarter, I believe, and then right before halftime, we put a good drive, 2-minute drill together, and then of course got the field goal block. So we got to do special teams really and we got another punt blocked as well. So we got to be better. Got to step up on all phases of special teams really. So we're kind of struggling in that area, but when we put some drives together, we had a lot of 3-and-outs on defense. Just kind of give up a little bit too many big plays, and then got to get a stop on the drive. And so we had a lot of good in that game and a lot of bad. So the bad outweighed the good a little bit because the score was so bad. But I feel like we always play hard. Just a couple of plays that always just turn the momentum in other team's favor, and we always shoot ourselves in the foot. So we got to avoid that this next game, because Southwestern's another good team. So got to be better in all three phases again.
Yeah, I was just keep recycling back to that field goal to end the half. It's a different game if that field goal is good. 8-6 at halftime, different mentality. It was 15-10 in the third quarter, and then just things kind of got out of hand there at the end. And you guys were, it just kind of looked exhausted at times towards the end of it. Guys getting, banged up and, already playing banged up as it is. Rob going out there for a second.
Yeah.
And
then Josh Sears hurt his hip a little bit, so we're a little banged up.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just kind of, and then there's some things that were just mental things that didn't go the right way. Penalties that were unnecessary.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that, but it's just ended up being frustrating to say the least. I use Sunday to get it out of my system.
Same.
More than anything. I guess that's what Sundays are for.
Yep.
But as I texted you earlier this week, I said, smooth seas don't make good sailors.
Yep. And,
you see the test of a man, regardless of, playing for championships or whatever. At the least, you got to be somebody that can, handle adversity and hardship and make it a successful moment, an improving moment. Yep. And that's what I mean by that more than anything. And you just kind of have to control what you can control and just focus inward, and then hold it, have everybody being accountable. That's what you have your position groups for and things like that. And there's some things that you guys, I could tell, trying a little bit. You had a different center this game. You're trying to do anything you can to, get better and better, and it's completely understandable by all means. But I just felt like, that field goal doesn't get blocked. I feel like it's a different game.
Yeah,
they're on out, and and I know a lot of people can criticize the decision. Were we on the 3-4 yard line, something like that? And yeah, it was, and even, listened to Larry Cherry after the game, addressing the team. He was just saying simply, he's like, it takes everybody stepping up and going in that extra notch, basically.
Yeah. Him
included. He included himself in needing to be better with that. So, I mean, that's everybody has to push themselves a little bit further than.
Yeah, that's what we're harping on this week. You got to go the extra mile. Yeah, you can be content. You do your job, but you got to go above and beyond just to make it be better, be that much better. A little edge. Every inch matters in football, right? So you got to go extra. That extra step might make a longer run, get a longer touchdown. So just that extra inch, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hard things from here on out. Everything's going to be hard. Your games are going to be hard. Balancing practice and class is going to be hard. You just have to flat out embrace hard. Yeah. I mean, that is part of being a grown human being.
Yeah, for real.
It's every single day. I feel like this is a good lesson. If anything, embrace it now and, know how to tackle it once you move on to a profession.
Yep, that's why football is so great. Just a lot of life lessons being taught day by day.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, we could talk all about that, but I know people want to hear, things about the games and stuff like that. But just kind of running through the numbers a little bit, you guys did get a touchdown. You had a 21-yard field goal in the first half to go up 3-0. Again, I mean, everybody could, even players included, could say, we should have scored a touchdown on that drive.
Definitely.
Plain and simple. And then, 8-3 at half, or 15-3 at halftime. Felt like it was still 8-3, but and then you guys get a touchdown in the second half. DJ, yes, being superhuman again. I mean, made it 15-10 with a 58-yard rushing touchdown. He broke at least 5 tackles. I don't know how he kept his balance.
Yeah, that was a crazy run.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of the classic DJ Sears runs that we've seen from him. And, I know he's got to feel the weight of a lot of things, when the team relies on him for so much production. And I know a lot of teams, including last year, really tried to key that part of him. And, trying to get that rolling and open it up for everybody else.
Yeah, that's the key. So, yeah, McPherson had a good job. The past 3 or 4 games, they done a good job of just trying to stop DJ and just kind of contain his scrambling ability. So, yeah, we got to be better on the outsides, winning one-on-one battles because a lot of man coverage. We got to be better on the outsides and in the slots as well. So, we have some big play opportunities. We got to just make them when they come. So,
yeah,
we're missing a lot. Just we're really right there on making a big play, but we just can't. We got to go that extra step we talked about earlier, the extra inch, just to make the play. Like we had a couple back shoulder fades in the first quarter. When Brady dropped one, Josiah dropped one, but just the plays they used to make in the beginning of the season, we know they can make them, so we trust them to throw it, but they got to come down with them.
Yeah. I mean, I was right next. Brady's was right in front of me, and he nearly had it.
I thought he had it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was slipping out as he was going down, and I was a little worried. But I mean, that was unfortunate. It was in a different environment than we've ever experienced for playing at McPherson. That's with their homecoming and everything, and they're so engaged because they've won 6 straight games after dropping their season opener now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a different kind of culture for them. And I mean, once they got rolling, they knew what to do from there. But yeah, I mean, it's just the little things like that went wrong that couldn't go wrong in that game.
Yeah.
But he still, despite all that, I mean, you did get some good production on offense as far as passing goes. Completed 10 passes for 124 yards. Yes, one of them was interception on that first drive, but you throw it a little bit deeper to Millie there in the end zone. That's a touchdown.
Yeah, one of those plays. We didn't go our way.
Exactly. I mean, and then DJ rushes for 130 and a touchdown in the game on 22 carries. I mean, he was getting a snap sometimes and really having to make the best out of some situations that were not easy. But, some receivers that stepped up. Larry, obviously, 3 catches for 69 yards. Josiah Buller, 3 catches for 41 yards. Bobby had some good catches, one that really had to set up a first down late in the game.
Yep.
And definitely took some hits, too, when he caught the football.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple times. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little bit frustrating. Toriano, it was really kind of a struggle to get him going as well. He had a couple of good runs, and things like that. But yeah, I mean, just there's so many things that you could go back and say we should have done this better, this, But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's all in the past, and yes, you learn from those situations. You don't necessarily play a blame game or anything like that. I mean, you guys have now, it's not like losing is a new thing at this moment. Yes, you don't want that to happen, but I mean, losing 3 in a row, it really makes you create a different mindset, I guess, more than anything. It can build sort of a gratitude mindset for players, taking advantage of the opportunities in front of them versus maybe taking them for granted at times. But that's kind of how that went on offense. On defense, Noah had 11 tackles. They got him credit for a forced fumble, but I think it was actually Colton McCarty.
Yeah, that was Colton's forced fumble.
Yeah, and I watched it on film again, and I was like, wait a minute, that was wrong. But Robin Neely had 10 tackles. He was just kind of like torpedoing out of nowhere at people.
He's flying downhill and hitting some people, so that's good to see.
Yeah, Tate, 9 tackles and a tackle for loss. Josh Sears, Roderick Edwards, and Reese all had 5 tackles in the game. And it's kind of a rare game where it doesn't seem like you guys got a registered sack on here. But, I mean, there were some tackles for loss that made it feel like it was that kind of a scenario. And, of course, when they get the football to start the game and fumble it to you guys, I mean, that was a big opportunity more than anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the statistics kind of things. McPherson offense threw for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. They found some ways to, catch the defense off guard, throwing to the running back on a kind of a swing out of the backfield.
Yeah.
I'd love to see us do that at some point. I mean, it would be nice. But Jaleel Brown, the running back, ended up rushing for 104. Otherwise, you guys, kept their other backs in check. Traven Lewis-Johnson had 5 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Coleman, 4 catches for 59, and Jaleel Brown mentioned him having that last touchdown for them. And it was an interception as well, and 4 sacks in the game for their defense. Definitely difficult at times where. It's sometimes, even when I'm just like shooting video, it's like a cloud in there. Yeah. Once the ball is snapped, and it's so hard to get out of that. And I mean, everybody's given the best they can, both sides of the ball to, clean it up and everything. But yeah, it's definitely hard to adapt to that scenario from an offensive side of things. But the Threshers fall 35-10 at McPherson, and they will have their sights set against Southwestern this week at home, and it'll be a very, very tough game after Southwestern's most recent football game coming out of the break. I was kind of looking at some things. DJ Sears rushed for 379 and 7 touchdowns on the season now. Toriano Richardson, 632 yards and just 1 touchdown in the ground game. And then DJ, over the course of the season, has passed for 8 touchdowns and thrown 5 interceptions on the year. If we're talking about things statistically, Tate Seabolt up to 64 tackles. No surprise there. He and Noah Miller, just guys that are on a collision course.
Yeah, they're killing it this year for
every single snap. When you run sometimes a 4-2-5 or anything like that, I mean, those 2 backers are so important.
Yeah, they are.
And they've been clutch. And yes, when they get a little bit, when teams pass the ball and they have to kind of adapt to that, that may create some disadvantages perhaps. But for the most part, they've done a good job adapting over the course of the season. So let's look at some other scores. We'll leave one for last. Evangel in the Kessinger division wins 68-17 at home against Bethany. that was kind of an interesting game there for a while. It was seemingly kind of close to begin with in the first half, and then Evangel just took it and ran with it, 68-17. What I didn't understand about Bethany was their defense has 18 interceptions on the season.
I noticed that, yeah.
That is unreal. I mean, everybody tries to pass against them, apparently.
Yeah.
They
played a lot of man coverage in there. They did a good job over there teaching man and reading the quarterback. So on film, I see it all the time. Just I don't know. I need some pointers from their coaches.
Oh yeah.
I need some pointers for real. But yeah, they do a good job over there for real.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of growth for them. But despite that, I mean, it's a tough road loss for the Swedes against Evangel. Evangel has a big game this week. Kansas Wesleyan in the Bissell Division wins 38-3 over Avila. Ottawa wins 33-30 in a close game against St. Mary. That was at Ottawa. And Tabor wins 25-21. They were trailing, I think, 21 to maybe 10 against Sterling.
Dang.
At one point. And that game was in Hillsboro.
Yeah.
I was listening to it on the radio, and I was like, is this game in Sterling? No, it's in Hillsboro.
Dang.
So, it caught me by surprise. But Sterling, really obviously embracing the fact that, when you get to this divisional part of the season, you just completely start over. You can be a completely different team. And, of course, Tabor wins that one 25-21. They come back and win at home. And then the game that everybody saw, probably, it was on ESPN, things like that, Southwestern and Friends down in Winfield. It was a 31-31 game. Southwestern lines up for the game-winning field goal, and it was blocked and ran back for a touchdown. And that's ball game.
Yeah.
They call it a kick six.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally ran off the field and into the locker room.
Yeah.
It was unreal. I could not believe that. And it was a big win for them. And Southwestern's had some heartbreakers at home and some big games in recent years. But they're definitely going to be a little agitated when they come to Thresher Stadium this week.
Definitely, yeah. So told them this morning at practice they're going to be coming. They'll be ready to play, so we better be out physical because we're both kind of losses. So it's going to be like who's a more physical team, who wants it more. So hopefully it's the Threshers. Yeah,
it'll be. I mean, they put up a lot of points despite that against a good Friends defense. So you guys definitely, you have your work cut out for you in that one. But it was an incredible game, and Friends ended up winning that one. And now things get even tougher for Friends. They play Evangel, and then us. Then McPherson and Bethany.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a gauntlet, and you can't overlook anybody. Especially, if you're a team that hasn't lost a game at this point, all it takes is one.
Yeah, for real.
But we continue to follow that, and of course the Threshers next week will head to Wichita to take on the Friends Falcons. So that's around the corner. But this week, we mentioned Bethel at home against Southwestern. The other games in the Kessinger division are Friends hosting Evangel in Wichita. That'll be huge for them. And then Bethany hosting McPherson. That'll be something to pay attention to as well. See what Bethany does against the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Not too big of a road trip. That's what we like here in the division. In the current configuration of the division, it's really Evangels that's the most out of the way.
Yeah, really.
If anything, now I know that's going to probably change next year.
Yeah, it might change a little bit here.
Yeah, with the way the divisions get mixed up and everything, but still. Not too bad at all. And the Bissell division will be Avila hosting Tabor, Sterling hosting Ottawa, and Kansas Wesleyan at St. Mary. So that is all 1 o'clock kicks this week, including our game at Thresher Stadium as Bethel welcomes in Southwestern to town. The Mound Builders definitely well coached. I was looking at their defense statistically, and it's pretty impressive. Their defense on the season, 8 fumble recoveries, 6 interceptions. They've been very good with that. I was looking at the point differential and other things on defense, and they've really been impressive. they're only giving up 110 yards passing and 119 yards rushing per contest. So still a pretty good team. And definitely going to be a tough test this week. I mean, we know what they do. They like to throw the football quite a bit. Their quarterback, Braden Howell, is a very good quarterback. Played at Bishop Carroll, and he's been there a few years now, and really his growth the last 2 years has been tremendous for them. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he might have been out the game against us last year.
Yeah, we didn't play against him last year.
Yeah, he got hurt. And so, he that can change things a lot of times. But they do a good job of mixing it up with the run as well. And so, I mean, from the defensive point of view on your side, I know that you definitely have examined this quite thoroughly.
Yeah.
What have you seen from Southwestern that makes them successful on offense?
I think they do a good job of mixing up their play calling. They on some first downs, they just max protect and throw a post route to some of the receivers, or they do have the ability to just pound the ball. They have 2 good running backs. Number 0 is pretty good. I think he averages like 90 yards a game, and then the quarterback averages like 50 some odd rushing yards per game. So they do a good job of mixing up their plays, quarterback run game, running back, and then mixing in some play action. So they do a lot of different stuff, have a lot of different formations, and then they also helps when you have a huge O-line as well. So they're a pretty good team overall on offense, man. They got weapons everywhere, and just got to do our job and hopefully hold them down a little bit, because I think they average like 45 points a game. So they put up a lot of points. So hopefully we can keep them way under that. Hopefully kind of help our offense out a little bit. But man, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think coming into the second half of the season, they were leading the division in points per game, and I think that's no longer the case, if my memory serves me correctly. They're averaging 500 yards of total offense per game, 300 passing, and then 200 rushing, 44 points per game, and very, very good. I mean, they started the season 6-0, and then fell that last week on one play that, special teams is an area that tests everybody. You can't take for granted.
I guess we weren't the only team that got a block field goal this weekend.
Yeah, the conference, we're sure to mention that. You mentioned Braden Howell, their quarterback. He's passed for 1,800 yards and 24 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season. Yeah, he can chuck it.
It's pretty good.
Very good quarterback for them, and it'll be something to keep an eye on what he can do in the ground game for them. J.B. Burnett, number 0, you mentioned him, 88 carries for 609 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. Braden Howell also has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, and then a few different guys that they, looks like they can bring in some guys on jet and things like that to run the football. I mean, everybody pretty much does that nowadays. Mm-hmm. But they do have a really good, talented receiving core. Josh Edson, a Newton kid, Matthew Holzhusen, who was a receiver for Braden Howell at Bishop Carroll, so a big connection there. I mean, when you have a quarterback and a receiver that can be on the same page just walking in the door, I mean, there's some benefits definitely
you can
to
definitely
that.
See the benefit of that this year. I think you see on the receiver, he's averaging what's his name? Number 11.
Matthew Holthusen.
He's averaging like 90 yards a game. He's been killing it all year. So
615 yards receiving on 8 touchdowns. Edson from Newton, 6 touchdowns and 421 yards receiving for them. And they've got other guys that they work into things. They spread it around quite a bit. And, not a lot different from what we've seen from Southwestern in the past, just probably execution. I mean, the one thing about this Southwestern team is that they've had going for them is usually when they get to this point and Bethel plays them, they've been a little banged up. And, we saw that last year with their quarterback missing the game, a few years ago with, receiver or running back that was really good. And otherwise, they would have definitely given us a better contest, in recent years. But that fact alone, that they haven't beat Bethel since 2019, I mean, probably will agitate them a little bit as well. So, last year's game was you didn't know what to expect going in against Southwestern last year, but, made good use of turnovers. And then, 2 big plays that the players that were on our team could only make. B with the pick 6 out of nowhere, and then Mario Quintero's touchdown catch and run was classic. I mean, it took heart, and that's what it's going to take to make big plays. I mean, you you want to use that example again to show your team what going the extra mile can do, and that's the example.
That's one of them right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that won you a football game.
Yeah.
That was the play of the year in the entire athletic department. I mean, it was
It was big. It was big for sure.
Yeah. And you can't be all hype and no heart. You got to go out there and
you got to have both.
Yeah, and so that in these kind of games, definitely big games. Now you kind of when you look at another, I don't know how much you look at another team's defense per se versus the offensive coaches, but good defense when you see it.
Yeah, they have a pretty good defense, man. They went a 3-front, 3-3-5, and they're on D-line, and there's some animals. I think they have one of the D linemen. He leads the conference in sacks. He has like 5 or 6 on the year.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say he has?
5.5 is what it says.
Yeah, so he's pretty good. And they have one of the best linebacking cores we've probably seen all year. They have three monsters. Man, they're good, man. They're the real deal. They fly around, silent making plays. And
yeah, and they have some depth to them as well. I know I recognize some names from I've covered them at the high school level. Mason Hopper, he's one of the guys that I covered when I do derby games and things like that. But they're definitely very good. Very, they recruit well. They're well coached. They're going to be very, very difficult to beat. They've usually been very good in special teams. There a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years in a row, they had the special teams player of the year in the conference.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to take a lot of good things and being disciplined and executing to definitely beat Southwestern. But playing them at home doesn't help, or it doesn't hurt, I should say. I mean,
it should be a great environment. The weather's gonna be nice, man. Home games are always fun, man. They're always fun. The stadium's packed. It's a good environment out here in Bethel.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, there's no reason for anybody, not to show up. It's not like there's other activities going on as far as athletically, on campus that day or anything like that. So I do know that, sometimes soccer and volleyball kind of cross paths with the football schedule now that football is being played in the afternoon versus evening.
Well, they play after us, surprisingly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they play like 4 and 6 or something. I forgot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works a lot of times. But, it's definitely going to be a lot of attention on the Threshers and the Mound Builders. And one of the things I do want to point out, and I know a lot of people can jump in with criticisms when you've lost 3 games in a row. I mean, from the outside looking in and things like that. But, I mean, a lot of those with it's all about how you approach things. I mean, do you have a constructive mindset, and things like that, or are you just not logically thinking? I mean, a lot of times, and I know you guys have to do the best you can to tune that all out, because you guys set the example for the players. I mean, the coaches, there's so many times where your temperament, it really has an effect on the team.
Yeah, so, to be honest, I don't even hear nothing going on. The criticism, I don't pay attention to them. I just go about my day, do what we got to do to make sure these guys are playing to their full potential on Saturday. So, I don't really hear anything. But I know, if I did, I wouldn't care, to be honest. But I just I'm a construction mindset. Got to just get to work and come to work each and every day and try to get better. Offense, defense, and special teams. So you got to just keep these guys in position to make plays for us. So that's what we're trying to do this week. Get these guys the opportunities to make better plays for us. Get the guys in space, trying to create some space for them and opportunities for them to make good things happen for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody gets into this thing to be competitive.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of times a lot of colleges have athletics because they want to win championships. They want to create prestige. They want to have not necessarily a lure to their university or college, but yeah, of course that helps. It benefits everybody. You get people coming in the door and everything like that. But at the same time, it's also about relationships.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can be undefeated and have a terrible team culture, which that never happens, by the way. I'm just throwing this out there. Or you could not have a single win and really build each other up and think positively, have a good mindset, and know how to take criticism and yes sir, no sir, and just go out there and respond and try to be better every little step of the way, because it's football. I mean, when you use the measurements, a game of inches, yards, it all adds up to the big goal at the end, the touchdown. I mean, that's just a metaphor with how things go.
Yeah.
Like step by step, doing the little things right, and everybody benefits from it. And we've seen that with with the way this program has been successful as long as you and I have been here. And that's what the longevity of the success and things like that is based solely on that continuing.
Yeah.
And I really haven't seen a lot of changes as far as that goes with your team. I mean, they're still lifting each other up. Yes, there's accountability. That's what's important.
Yeah.
But it's about how you go about it, right?
Yeah, the guys they've been doing a good job of staying positive even when things are going bad. That's what I preach all the time, how you handle adversity, how you're going to handle it in real life. So they do a good job of staying positive, lifting each other up even when things are going bad. Yeah, we're losing a little bit here and there, but man, we know we're in each and every game. Just the big plays we give up and we're missing out opportunities on. We know we're in every game really so far. So the score is kind of bad a little bit, but we know it's like 3, 4, or 5 plays that they go our way, we'd be winning. So that's why we're staying positive over here, just not giving in, like staying the course, staying positive, and then we know eventually we'll come out on top.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I had a chance to talk to some of the guys that I'm close with on the team, and I said, hey, this was halftime, and I was like, don't go out there and be a pushover. Like, I mean, it's really easy, when a team gets a big play right before half and things like that and carry the momentum in the second half. It's like, you got to respond. You got to, I see it all the time. I've covered high school games where you have this team that's undefeated and this team is 1 loss or undefeated, and it's all one team has to do is get up 3 touchdowns, and the other team just is done.
Yeah, literally.
And I mean, you simply cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you've been part of really successful teams when you were a player as well, and I mean, not everything goes your way.
No, not at all. So that's just life. So that's like another thing about football, man. Teach life lessons. Like, not everything gonna be perfect. You gotta overcome adversity, the hardship. You gotta embrace when it sucks. So right now, yeah, it kind of sucks losing, but man, we're doing a good job in practice, and practice has been good, and our energy's good. So man, just one of these days, I know we're gonna get back in the win column for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it takes. I mean, it takes encouragement. It says, a lot of things from everybody in the community and things like that to, keep people built up, because, I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, yes, you want to win and you love the game of football and things like that, whether you're a player or a coach or anything, but it's football.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to be the quality human being that you're expected to be.
Yeah. Day
in and day out.
Exactly.
So a lot of the philosophical side of things. Hey, when Coach Stokes and I when we had this show, it got pretty philosophical because he could go on all day, and it.
I can imagine. Well, shout out Coach Stokes. Today's his birthday, or Tuesday's his birthday. So
man,
Tuesday, right?
Yep, today is Tuesday.
It's his birthday today. I think he 55, something like that, maybe not.
Oh man. Don't tell me. I don't. 55. That may be really high.
No, he's not that old. I messed with him.
Oh man, that's gonna make me feel old. Yeah, I mean, this show obviously airs Saturday. Everybody watching and things like that. But tomorrow's mine. So I'm 35.
Oh, happy early birthday! Happy early birthday!
I always ask somebody, "How old do you think I am?" And they'll say something lower out of nowhere. I'll be like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, they always call me look like I'm 35, 40. So.
Oh yeah.
So first when I take that when I shave and got a bald head. So.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that when you first got hired. I was like, man, he looks really mature for his age, kind of a thing. And
yeah.
I think that does strike a chord nonetheless. But getting back to football for a moment, just reminding folks that, again, Thresher football this week is at 1 o'clock from Thresher Stadium. Come on out if you can. If you can't, watch online at the KCAC network and their app and their website. And you just go KCAC network /Bethel, and that should get, or Bethel KS, I can't remember which one it is, but that should get you where you need to go. It's kind of interesting. I have some people communicate with me, and whenever we go on the road and said, you had a great call on Saturday, I'm like, I wasn't the one on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I mean, I can't take credit for that. I will take credit for the good ones, like Kansas Wesleyan. I know some of their announcers, and, some guys put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I learned a long time ago about, what makes coverage important is, having a relationship with the players and coaches, and that was something from day one for me here. Just, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's what's going to make this experience life-changing for everybody, and that's what we're still trying to do across the board here. So, all right. Well, that all aside, happy birthdays all around to Coach Stokes, and
to you.
Oh yeah, October's a great month, and I tell you what, it is a busy month. Basketball is coming up here, before we know it, and the next 2 weeks, the midweeks are like basketball, volleyball, basketball, and midweek. And, football on Saturday.
Yeah.
And not to mention the stuff I do on Friday nights. So it's going to be jam-packed. But nonetheless, thanks everybody again for watching. Again, we do this to just add something sweet to it and do it for the fans, the parents. We care about you, and we care about the players and everybody that's attached to this program, that is playing in it now, that's going to play in it, and that has invested in it in the past. And so for Coach Dalen Markham this week, I'm Dan Page, telling you to roll on.